So the new chapter for Jujutsu Kaisen is here, and it just dropped. And you know what else just dropped? My fucking jaw when I saw that we crossed 10,000 subscribers. That is literally crazy. Rocky, isn't that insanely crazy? Like, that's so crazy. 10,000 subscribers. That is literally the craziest thing, right? Good talk. Anyway, you know what 10,000 people looks like? It looks like this. That is actually terrifying. That is a lot of fucking people. Imagine that one dude stood in the middle of that tennis court is me. The rest of the people surrounding him is just you cheering him on. That is crazy to me. That is a lot of people. But genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you so much for watching my content. Your time is genuinely the most valuable currency you'll ever have on this planet. No matter how rich you are, how many mansions and how many oils you have, you know what I mean? Your time is the most valuable thing that you'll ever have on this planet. And the fact that you spend it here and you can't get it back, you spend it here watching my stuff is fucking phenomenal, and I will never be able to show or tell you how grateful I am for you giving me that chance, and it is genuinely life-changing. But with that all said, enough of the soppy shit. Time to settle down. Make sure you subscribe, grab some snacks. Also, I just want to say, if you haven't subscribed, you should definitely consider it. It's like a literal 10% PP increase, like 10-inch PP increase right there for subscribing. You should probably do that. Anyway, settle down, grab some snacks, grab a juice box, and let's get into the chapter. So this chapter opens up where we left off with Gojo having just launched the fattest hollow purple, and I mean the fattest with a PH in front of it, across the city at Sukuna, and we get some nice little flirtatious banter between Sukuna and Gojo here. And Gojo is telling Sukuna, like, you simply are just another nameless fish here, like one that's more lively than others, but I'll start by removing the scales. And honestly, it's kind of weird flirtatious banter from Sukuna to say that. Like, that's a bit weird. But Gojo's just standing there staring at this man like there's always one motherfucker that takes this shit too seriously and just starts speaking like fucking Sephiroth. Like, what are you doing right now? But Gojo goes on to ask him why he kept that face, as he's referring to Megumi's face here. And again, this confirms that Sukuna can just go back to his original form whenever he wants. We've had Sukuna say this to now Yorozu, Kenjaku, and now Gojo in this, and we also saw Sukuna morph his whole head and mouth and body to munch on Angel's arm, which again, a regular human isn't really doing that. And if you can do that, you should probably go seek maybe an exorcist or a counselor or something, because you probably shouldn't be able to do that. It's kind of fucking weird. But Gojo goes on to say how Sukuna thought Gojo would hold back here since he looked like that, and then goes on to say that he's been doing some sort of special training. And now this little point right here is super interesting to me, and I know a lot of people have speculated on the possibility of a training arc throughout this month's time skip here. I also said, like, I think it's a bit late in the series to have a training arc, but obviously we've basically had to confirm that that month was a training arc. We saw Yuji training with Kusakabe, and now Gojo saying that he's also had special training. It's, you know, it's here, and I'm going to assume that Gege is going to do his usual formula of sprinkling these little fruits of the labor training arcs into flashbacks throughout the fight, similar way that he done it with Yuki and Choso versus Kenjaku, sorry. But throughout that fight, they sprinkled in nice little emotional moments between Yuki and Choso basically just sort of refinding himself and becoming a human, making the fight that little bit more emotional for most of the Choso fans. So I can see that that's gonna, I can feel that that's how this is gonna go down within this fight here. Now we have to figure out if this training that Gojo done was within the prison realm, or if it was done within this month time skip, or even just a combination of both. There has been a lot of speculation of Gojo reaching mental enlightenment within the prison realm, and it's very possible he's found something out about himself, or even the soul or the core of cursed energy while inside that prison realm. He's got a lot of time in his hands to think about to do so. The other theory that I have here, and I know I keep harping on about this, but I am genuinely convinced, I might even make a separate video about this, deep diving in, but this book that Yuki gave to Choso and Yuji could have some seriously crazy information that changes the entire series, which would wrap up Yuki's character arc very fucking nicely. Having a life's work change the outcome of the situation that they're in, that could be a very nice change here. And I've already speculated that Yuji's potential power comes from said book that Yuki gave to Choso, which is now sat with Yuji. And with Gojo now saying he'll worry about Megumi after he kills Sukuna, it does make me wonder if there is a way for Megumi's soul to survive the fight. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. But we do get a little panel of Toji calling Gojo a copycat, which I can only assume is for Gojo literally just wearing his fucking clothing right now. But pretty much from here on out, it is no talk, no thoughts, just fists. And these fists are rated E for everyone because there's literally zero dialogue, and it's just Gojo and Sukuna literally throwing hands. They are getting busy. But I will say, it's nice to see the return of the cursed energy fists. That's kind of cool. I always thought this was a really cool design idea from Gege, and seeing Gojo and Sukuna use them in this fight it just feels like a nice little callback to simpler Jujutsu Kaisen times. But Gojo and Sukuna start getting busy. They're throwing combos, they're throwing kicks, they're throwing the whole fucking kitchen sink at each other right now. And Gojo just decides in the middle of this, have a little power nap, a little lie down right now. But as he does this, he pins Sukuna to a wall, seemingly with blue, and Sukuna is literally just like, oh, Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, fair. That's good. You know what I mean? And as Gojo throws him through the wall, I just want to point out that this feels like a different version of blue that what we've seen from Gojo before. Like the blue that Gojo normally uses attracts enemies to a certain point and it causes a lot of destruction. He basically forces 2 points to connect and the world basically has to correct itself, which is basically the dumbed down explanation of it. But near enough every time we've seen this, it has caused a lot of destruction. However, this use of it, Gojo's ability right now, it seems very targeted, very specific, and it doesn't seem half as destructive as what he is normally capable of doing. It seems really, really controlled right here. So I do wonder if this is either an advanced version of blue or possibly even a separate technique altogether. But Sukuna gets launched through the window here, and as he's trying to gain his footing, Gojo starts chasing this man down, stomping on where Sukuna would be, trying to catch him. And as Gojo was stomping, he ends up breaking the bridge that they are on. But this is where we see Gojo use this apparent blue technique again, and he targets the bridge this time and throws the bridge towards a building with Sukuna stuck on it. And again, like this whole complete and utter specific selection of this bridge, it's possible that Gojo's special training could have either helped improve the usage of his techniques, or this is a genuinely entirely new one, because he doesn't even say the words blue and there's no like indication of this. It just seems like he's using telekinesis throughout this fight, which I am seeing theories about that, but again, only time will tell. But Sukuna manages to dodge this and lands on a rooftop nearby and uses a finger gun dismantle on Gojo, which, as I said in the spoiler video, looks a hell of a lot like a reference to Yu Yu Hakusho's Yusuke's spirit gun. And this isn't the first Togashi reference that we get in this chapter. It feels like there's a lot of little homages in this chapter here, but this dismantle hits the building right behind Gojo. And at first, I actually wasn't sure whether this dismantle bounced off Gojo's infinity and hit the building behind him, because Gojo seemingly like looks shocked by it, or if Sukuna purposefully hit that building on purpose as a means to distract them, which works because Gojo then does turn around to look at the building, which has now been sliced in half clean, and Sukuna readies to throw a massive power punch at Gojo, which Gojo catches. And in the spoilers, I didn't quite put these two connections together, but in the recent Jujutsu Kaisen 2 season 2 trailer, we see Toji cutting through infinity with the inverted spear of heaven, and the effects that come off it remind me a lot of what is happening here. We see Gojo's hand catching the punch from Sukuna, and we see infinity seemingly stop the punch. But Gojo looks at the punch, and we also see Sukuna looking a little bit surprised, and Gojo catches the hand here. And now I'm really uncertain about what's actually happening here, because there is no like thoughts or internal dialogue that's happening here explaining genuinely word for word verbatim what is happening here. Gojo and Sukuna look half surprised about what's happening here, but Gojo does end up catching Sukuna's hand and throws him into the building behind him. But I think we are going to need a little bit more context, because them two not having their internal thoughts here or having this whole scenario explained in the panel, it can leave a lot of things open to interpretation, and I'm okay with that, because nothing was ever going to be clean cut in this fight between Gojo and Sukuna. Let's be real here, this is going to come down to the wire, and there's going to be a lot of things left to interpretation. But the way I interpreted this was, it was sort of infinity blocking the punch and then Gojo deactivating infinity to grab the hand, or again, you could entirely interpret this as Sukuna actually breaking through infinity, just off the effects that I've shown from season 2 trailer and now this panel. They look strikingly similar. But as Sukuna and Gojo are falling through the building that Sukuna cut down, we see Gojo pulling a door in front of him and getting ready to punch Sukuna, which is where we arrive at our second Togashi reference. This punch looks almost identical to Gon using JJK, but sadly we don't actually get to see that punch connect, because in the next panel the building comes crashing down and we see these two motherfuckers come walking out of the smoke as if they are best friends. Like, genuinely, I always thought Sukuna was the type of guy who was genuinely just hanging around to have the fight of his life right here. And I theorized a while back, I always said that was his motive. He was just waiting to fight someone of equal caliber here. But now he's finally fighting Gojo, who is giving him what he wants. He's just having a good time. He's just happy. And it is really wild to see how these two genuinely seem like almost friendly. Like, there's a mutual respect right here. It's really weird to see. But these two come walking out of the smoke like best friends, and Gojo says to Sukuna, "I'm gonna pin this all on you. This destruction is crazy." And Sukuna replies like, who are you to say anything right now? Like, motherfucker, you just blew half of Shibuya away with a hollow purple. Like, what are you talking about? But it's genuine. This whole dynamic is genuinely so fun for me to read. Like, it reminds me a lot of Kashimon versus Hikari. It's just two absolute powerhouses that love to fight, and they're just duking it out as if nothing matters. It's not exactly like the fate of the world is literally at stake here, but it's nice. Like, it's cool seeing these two. It's like that typical shonen stereotype of just two powerhouses just having a good time, just fighting it out. It reminds me almost of Goku versus Vegeta. Just they're testing each other. There's a mutual respect here. There's a lot of animosity between the two, but there's also a mutual respect, and it's kind of nice to see. But overall, I genuinely thought the chapter was a banger. However, I would have liked to see more internal monologue on their thoughts on the techniques as they were playing out. I would have liked that, and even some more shit talk between the two. I think that would have just tied the chapter very, very nicely, and just added to the hype. And I think it would have fleshed it out a little bit more. So I'm kind of disappointed that from literally page like what 2, there is literally almost no dialogue until the final page. But I guess we can't always have what we want, which is sadly. But that is everything from me. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Again, I can't thank you all enough for 10,000 subscribers. Like, it's genuinely a wild achievement. These past couple of months have genuinely been an emotional roller coaster, and it is insane. So as always, much love, big kisses. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.